Annika. How are you?
Hi. I'm a little tired, but I'm okay.
That's good.
It's hot as hell out here today.
Where are you?
I'm in LA. I'm in the valley. It's
Okay.
109 degrees. It's
109?
109 degrees.
Oh my, that's unreal. We're in San
Yeah.
Diego. I don't think it's that. Oh, actually, it's 98 here.
It's brutal. I don't know why I'm in a sweater, but you know,
Do you have
I
air
honestly I don't
conditioning?
know what's happening, but I am. So
Oh
that's
my
fine.
goodness. Are you originally from LA?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm from Sherman Oaks. I live in Sherman Oaks. So haven't really made it too far.
That's cool. I mean, LA is not the worst place to grow up, right?
Definitely not. I definitely consider myself pretty damn lucky.
Yeah. Well, tell me how you got into music.
Oh man, I mean my parents are both musicians, classic tale.
Oh, they
My
are.
mom, yeah, my mom was a singer and songwriter, and she grew up in Massachusetts and moved out here when she was 17 to pursue music. And then my dad plays guitar, and he designed recording studios actually when that was
Wow.
a thing, and he didn't need just like a computer and speakers. But yeah, he did that. He was in that industry for a very long time, and so kind of just it was just in the family. and then
Mhm.
um and then I started a YouTube channel when I was like 8 or 9, and I joined my first band when I was 10. And we just played a bunch of shows around LA, and we were playing like Zeppelin and Beatles covers. I don't know what was happening.
Were you the singer?
I was the lead singer. Yeah, it was two guys, four piece, two guys, a female bassist, and then I was the singer. And yeah, we did that for 2.5 years, which was really interesting to be playing like the whiskey when you're like 12 years old, and you're like, what is happening here? And
Covering
your mom
Zeppelin?
is like in the front row, like, yeah, literally, and like playing like Happy Birthday by the Beatles. And I'm like, does anybody here have any clue what's going on? Because I don't. But but it was fun. I mean, it was an incredible experience, and I did that for 2.5 years. And then I joined another band that was actually, we were signed to a label. The bass player and I got pulled out of that original band, and we kind of just got sucked into this like all female um, girl band, like rock girl band.
And this is the band
Um,
that was signed, or the band
and
that you were
yeah,
in before?
yeah, this
Okay.
is this is the band that was signed. So yeah, the bass player and I left, and we found a drummer and a guitarist. And that's how I met my manager, because she was the A&R at the label, who was in charge of formulating the members of the band. And um and then she eventually left the label and started managing me, and the band was dropped again. Classic tale. I was literally 15. I was like, still don't know what's happening. But yeah, it's kind of just been an
Wow.
ongoing thing since I was very little.
So with this band that got signed when you're 15 years old, did you have original material, and or were they kind of giving you songs to perform? How did that work?
So we signed to a very pop label, and we were all like, everyone was like, drew inspiration from every kind of music, and we were all very very different, and we kind of got thrown into this thing where like we had to collectively be agreeing on what kind of music to be making. And we didn't know even what that was, because all of our references were so all over the place. But they were putting us in. That was kind of my initial introduction to sessions, and the realization that there's actually like more than the artist that's contributing to making the music.
Hmm.
um and so the four of us were just like thrown into the fire, and we were just doing sessions like 6 days a week and writing with all these people. And I was like entering my first year of high school, and I was like missing all the school, and I was like, whoa, like this is so weird. And I was like, also crazy to like understand what happens behind the scenes for like pop artists who are writing with all these different people to create the music that's coming out. And yeah, so it was that for 2.5 years, just like a nonstop cycle of sessions and like blind dating all these songwriters and producers. And we I think we wrote over like 250 songs.
Oh my
and
gosh.
and then we got a call one morning and they're like, just kidding, you're dropped. And we never released anything.
So that you just spent all that time writing 250 songs. Did you record them all too?
Yeah, we recorded it. It got a little bit sloppy towards the end. I mean, like, naturally there's going to be a little bit of butting heads when you're four teenage girls, like not only just like figuring out how this entire business works, but like figuring out yourself. It's like such a vital age for like self-discovery and growing up, and it just got really, really sloppy. And so at a certain point when our A&R left the label, it was only me that was going into sessions and writing the songs and working with these people, which in turn was also like, why is she the only one doing this? And like I said, it just was like a downward spiral for about a year. But yeah, I recorded all the songs, and then nothing was ever put out, which like in retrospect now I'm like, thank God, because I mean, at 15, it's like, what life experience do you have? Like, I wanted to be a great songwriter, like really, really badly. But obviously, like, songwriters are storytellers. And I was like, what did my mom make me for lunch? Like, that was the furthest extent of my worries. I'm like, I can't be writing these like love songs and like longing for something or somebody. I'm like, I really want to know if there's like a turkey sandwich or a chicken sandwich. I just
Right.
I didn't know what
What are you working with
I
here?
was doing. But it was so fun, and it was so cool to have that experience, because it just made me want to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
And understand the process, and just be more a part of it. And yeah, the music wasn't the best thing in the world, but the experience was just so important to have moving forwards, and like venturing out into doing solo stuff, and then actually like growing up and finally like starting to have those experiences and like meeting a boy or whatever it is, and then actually wanting to like talk about something where the story was coming from an authentic place. And so that's what that kind of kickstarted that entire thing. So I'm really glad to have had that experience.
Yeah,
for sure.
sure. So you were 15. You said you just started high school when the other band was going or whatever, and you guys got dropped. When did you start doing your solo thing? Was it quickly after that, or did you just do some high school stuff for a while and then get back into music?
I actually left halfway through freshman year of high school because of how chaotic the schedule was, and I wasn't able to really attend school too frequently. And I am a perfectionist, and I was like, I need to like get good grades, so I'd rather just do it by myself. And so I left when I was still in the girl band. I left school, and then I was doing this online program, and then we were dropped. And I think like I can remember just being told all the time by professional people in this world that I was so young and I had so much time. I should kind of like indulge in just the craft of writing, like fully just throw myself into that, and not for myself. Like they were like, you should go and you should learn what it's like to be on the other side of like being a songwriter. So writing for other people and like trying to tell somebody else's story for them. And I was like, cool, may as well like hone in on this craft and like get better at it. And then maybe in a couple years I'll like look back and I'll like dive back into doing something for myself. But I was very quick to realize that I can't tell other people's stories. It's just not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, all of it, like I'm grateful for the experience of it, and like I'm happy that I did it so that I know it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so I did that maybe for like 6 months. But I was like 15, 16, and that was kind of like I was starting to have those feelings of like, you're growing up a little bit, and my parents are getting divorced, and this is happening and this is happening, and I was like, oh my God, like all this is compiling onto each other. I need to like get it out somehow. And so writing at home on my piano became like a very cathartic thing for me, and something that was like, oh, this is just like a little journal entry at the end of every night that I should just keep doing. So I started kind of really doing that very naturally while I was writing for other people. And then I was like, oh, I should be doing my own thing, because now I have these songs and now I have these stories that I want to tell, and they're mine, and they aren't forced or fake. And it probably is something I should just share with the world. So yeah.
So piano, I want to go real quick to the piano. So is that the first instrument you learned how to play?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, I took a couple lessons. I just like, they wanted me to learn like music theory and read the notes, and I was like, guys, that takes too much time. This sounds good. That's all that matters. Like, it sounds good. I don't know what I'm playing, but it sounds cool and it fits with what I'm singing. So that's that. So I kind of just stuck to that method of just like, this sounds good, I'm just going to keep doing more things like that.
Nice.
And it's still my main writing tool.
You still write primarily on the piano?
Yeah, good like 99% of all my songs were written on my piano. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What was the first song that you put out? You said you're finally having these life experiences and sitting down on the piano and being able to kind of get your emotions out. What was the first thing that you put up, like on Spotify or whatever, like first song you released?
Well, before I released music, I was posting all my originals on Instagram, just like sitting at the piano and like posting 1-minute clips. So that there was one song that I wrote one night, and I brought it into the studio the next day with this woman, Steph, who's an incredible songwriter. And I was like, hey, like, I wrote this last night. Do you want to help me finish it? I mean, it could be cool. She was like, yeah, for sure. It was called In the End. And after that session, I like went home, and my mom was like cooking pasta or something, and she was in the kitchen next to the piano, and I just was like taking a video of myself singing that song, and I put on Instagram, and it just like acquired a lot of attention from people who were on my page, and they're like, please put this out. And I was like, maybe that is something I should lead with. I kind of like that it's not about anything romantic. It's just about me and like something that I experience, and it might be like a cool thing to lead with, and people seem to like it. So so that was the first thing I put out, and that was only in like, was it October last year? It was like towards the end of last year. So it's honestly, the whole process of releasing music is still fairly new.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at the end of like just in 2019, you're saying that's when you put it out, or 2018?
No, 2018.
Okay.
Wow, this year? Oh,
I know.
My God. Time, I don't even know. Does not exist.
Well, when you sit inside for 6 months.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
That is so weird. I'm like 29. Oh my God, it's 2020. And we're also like more than halfway through the year, which is ridiculous.
It's just
2018.
Okay.
Whew.
So in the end, your Instagram friends at the time thought like, hey, this is really something. And that's why they reacted. They were like, please put this out. And I was like, shit, okay, I'll put this out. So I just put it out. And we shot a music video and did the whole thing, and it was really exciting and fun, and I was so happy, because I think anything coming out before that or being anything other than that song would have felt premature and or just not the right thing. So I'm really glad that I held off for as long as I did, and like waited till it just felt like there were no questions asked. This should just be the thing that comes out. Mm-hmm. So you put that out, and then did you get the same response from people that like you were off of your Instagram fans?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people, that's still, I think, a lot of the people who are on my page, it's still their favorite song that I've put out. And I think a big part of that too is the fact that like a lot of those people who were asking me to put it out are so used to me just singing at my piano, and like that's they associate me with just like a few chords on the piano that's sat in my house for the last like 8 years. And that song, though it develops and like gradually gets more dynamic, it does start off just like my voice and piano. And I think that's kind of where the draw is, because like moving forward, some of the music I've been releasing recently isn't that. And I think I would honestly, like in recent months, been thinking to myself, I was like, like I should kind of just like go back to my roots a little bit and just do the piano vocal thing, obviously with like it being a little bit more dressed up. But I think that's really why it had the attention that it had from people. And it's still one of my favorite things too, honestly.
And then that became part of Ventura Boulevard. Is that an EP that you put out?
Yeah.
Tell me about putting that EP out. That must have been pretty exciting.
Oh my God, it was so exciting. I was so happy. It was the best day. Yeah, I mean, it was such like a timestamp for me, because everything that I did, everything that was like a part of my daily routine was on Ventura Boulevard. Like I lived on Ventura Boulevard, so I wrote all the songs there. And then the studio that I would record all my songs at is also on Ventura Boulevard. It's like a 10-minute drive just down the street. And then my coffee shop was there. Like my favorite little like vintage stores are there, my restaurants, and I would go on walks with my dog and my friends. And I was like, it just seems like that's what it has to be. All those songs are just written on this street. And so we took I think there were 5 songs, so it was in the end, and then we put out a couple more singles, and then there were 2 additional ones that weren't singles on the EP. And yeah, I think each of them individually were just such like direct stories about like one specific experience that had occurred in that little Ventura Boulevard world. And yeah, it felt so personal to me and so cool. And like, I don't know, I feel like I'd been holding on to those stories for so long that to like have them almost feel like they weren't mine anymore felt so good. Like it was so amazing. And the whole release was just a really fun process, because first of all, I just never put out a body of work ever. And so that was exciting in itself. But also we did like a little 5 days on Ventura marketing thing, and I had like a couple people who had been following me for a while come to the studio the day it was released and like hang out and dance to the songs and watch the music videos. And it was just like, I don't know, it was just so much fun. And it was so, I don't know, I just felt like so emotionally filled up after. I was like, this is why you do it.
Have you been performing out as a solo artist at this point yet?
I haven't played a show in 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
It's fucked up. Oh my God. It's so annoying. Like live is my favorite part of the entire thing. Like, I mean, I'm obsessed with like Gwen Stefani and Hayley Williams and those people who you go to a show and you're literally just like your jaw is on the floor. And like those are the people I grew up watching and like wanting, like I would just want to like, I want that energy when I'm on stage. And when I was in bands, I got to do it like 3 times a week. We would just go out and you could just go crazy. But I didn't have the songs that I have now. And I haven't been able to take those songs and like put them into like a physical form and like do a show. And it's so frustrating. So frustrating. Oh my God.
Yeah, and now we're in a pandemic, so
I know. I still think it's 2019, so
been inside so long you still think it's last year.
But genuinely, that came from the most pure place. I fully believed the words that were coming out of my mouth.
I love it. That's awesome.
That's terrifying.
So after Ventura Boulevard comes out, you started releasing, Naïve came out. It looks like Bittersweet. And and obviously the newest release, Butterflies. Are these all
Mm-hmm.
going to be part of another body of work?
To be completely honest with you, I don't know. I really don't know yet. I know definitely know the next couple songs that are coming out. I don't know as like a collective what that looks like yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do have songs lined up. I just don't know if they're going to be kind of put together into like um one body of work.
Mm-hmm.
Um but I'm still, I mean, I'm still writing and like doing sessions and writing a lot by myself and getting songs done. So regardless if those guys get put together, there's still a lot of music that will be coming out.
That's good. Yeah. And the video for the song, or the most recent one, Butterflies, I love the video. It's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. Thanks.
Did you shoot that
During a
recently or
pandemic.
during the pandemic? You did. Tell me about
During, it was
that.
terrifying. It was terrifying. Oh my God. We went to the middle of nowhere, and the director was in England, so she was on Zoom the whole time. And it was like
Wow.
4 o'clock in the morning for her. Like she was up the whole night. And also, like I said, we were in the middle of nowhere, so the service
Yeah, the
was
Wi-Fi was garbage.
horrendous. Just garbage. It was so bad. And also, like, oh my God, when there's so much information about something being thrown in your face all the time and you have no clue what to believe, when there's like a makeup artist or someone just like putting their hands on your face and like getting so close to you, to not have a panic attack took so much out of me. I was like terrified, but it was good. Everyone wore masks. We had like sanitizing stations, but in my head going into it, I'm like, oh, there's gonna be like 5 people. The director is like in the UK. We're good. Get there, there's like 30 fucking people there. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, okay. So we're getting tested after this.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. It was so weird.
Yeah, well, how did she direct the video over Zoom? Like somebody was just holding up the computer, like turning around to people.
Yes. Literally, yes.
Oh my.
Yes.
So somebody's job was just to hold the computer.
There was he was like almost like a hype man. Like he was there and I'd be like performing and he's like, get it. He's like, let's go. He's like, go crazy. And I'm like, who are you? I'm like, I don't even know
Computer
you.
guy.
But he was so cool. He was honestly like, I mean, it definitely got me going. I was like, oh shit, I got it. All right, let's go. But he was holding his phone and just like flipping the camera on the monitors and being like, tell me, like, Rebekah, like, tell us when to cut. And obviously, like, there's a delay, so like the music would cut out, and then she'd be like, cut, and I'd be like, we've been cut for like 15 seconds, but it's fun. It was crazy. It took a lot longer than it would have if she was actually physically there, but it was still fun and it felt good to like be doing something productive outside of my house for the first time in months.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. And then the song itself, you had some pretty big
Yeah.
co-writes on that song, didn't you?
Eric, yeah, I did a lot. Eric Hassel, he's my favorite Swedish person in the entire world. And he is the most talented little genius I've ever met in my entire life. He's so kind and just such an amazing person to work with. And I was a fan of his music before I ever started working with him, but he was a big part of making Ventura Boulevard too.
Mm-hmm.
So we did like 3 of the songs on there. We did Bittersweet together too. And then Butterflies, it was just Eric and I, and then Tim Randolph, who is also very, very talented, creative. He produced the song. But the funniest part about that was I wrote it initially in my friend's, like she has like a little movie theater room in her house.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just before her 18th birthday, which is like a month before my 18th birthday. And we were sitting up at like 3 o'clock in the morning in her little theater room being like, oh, I'm so scared. And she's going to college. And she was just talking about how she was feeling all these pressures that were weighing super heavy on her. And you know, I was experiencing those in my own form, given my circumstances. And we kind of just got into this discussion for a couple hours, and she has like a really shitty like plastic keyboard that she just like keeps in that room. And I was like, get her out. I was like, let's go. And I wrote that song in there, and then I brought it to session with Eric and Tim, and then it just developed over like a couple months, because that's honestly the song that had changed the most from its like original form, from like day of writing to day of release. It just, there were so many developments, but yeah, I mean, it definitely would not even have gotten halfway to the point it got to without Tim and Eric, for sure.
Very cool. And excuse me, are you performing the song on, like, how are you promoting it aside from the interviews and stuff? Are you doing like live versions, or are you going on Instagram at all?
Yeah. Obviously I'm unable to do actual shows, but yeah, I did like a little live stream the day after. That was like an acoustic thing on my Instagram Live, which I've honestly been doing quite frequently. Just like little acoustic live sessions on Instagram Live. And then I think actually probably this week or early next week, I'll do like an actual recorded version of, not like studio version, but just like not on live, of the acoustic version of Butterflies, and just put it on like YouTube and Instagram and whatever else. But that's kind of, it's kind of the only way to really be doing it right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Although it is fun, like it's cool to be on live, and like you can guest people and have people talk to you and connect in a different way, which is honestly pretty special in its own way. So I'm lucky to at least have that.
Yeah, that's cool. So you pull like fans on and stuff and chat with them?
Yeah, it's so cute. I also just started I made a website where we made like a Butterflies page, and people, basically what we did was we had like this little vent box, because obviously like a lot of people who are like my Instagram friends or whatever else are around the same age as me, and even like despite the age thing, like that song and like feeling pressure to like be a certain way or have things figured out by a certain time is like something everybody has experienced or will experience or is currently experiencing in their own way. And I just wanted to like make this page for people to just come to and tell their stories. And it's like almost like a Tumblr, so you can respond to other people, and you guys, and like they can engage in conversation together too, and then I can respond. And it's public, but it's anonymous. And then there's also like a little place for them to write to me directly, so I can, if they aren't comfortable sharing it publicly, and then I can respond to them. And it's kind of just supposed to be like a little community center for everyone to like feel safe in. And that's been like, I feel like it does more for me than it would ever do for anybody else, because I read them and I just sit in my room like sobbing. But it's so special. Like it's so rewarding for me, and hopefully for the people who are coming on there as well. But yeah, that's been a really fun thing that I've done during the Butterflies release. It's interesting. You have to be creative when it comes to like connecting these days, because you can't do it in a physical way. So those kind of things just feel like the best way to go about it. And also you just wouldn't think of it if you weren't in the times, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I know. It's like live streams weren't even like really a thing, 8 months ago. I mean, they were, but not
5
really.
months ago, when they started happening and everyone was doing them at the same time, I was like, I will delete this app and I will block everybody if I see one more live stream. And then I started being a contributor to that, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, right? It's like,
You do.
I've told this story before, but it was like in the beginning of it, Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie was like, I'm going to go live every day, and I'm going to play a Death Cab song or a cover or a song maybe you haven't heard in a long time. And now we're what, 6 months in? I'm sure he cut that off
He's
probably
like,
2 months in. He's like, well, I didn't expect that to last as long.
I thought it was gonna be 2 weeks quarantine. I literally planted an avocado as a joke. Be like, how? Like, I'm like, this is my quarantine project. I'm gonna like take this avocado seed and I'm gonna make it an avocado tree. Little did I know, I actually am making it into an avocado tree.
You've got a little, yeah.
I literally had to transplant it last week because it was growing so much. I was like, I don't know how to feel about this.
That's so funny.
It's funny, and then you think too deeply about it, and you're like, oh man, this is just so not funny.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, Annika, thank you so much for taking time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah. I have one more question. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
I will always say this: trust your instincts. Like, trust your instincts. And also, I think as an artist, like, when you are making decisions and other people do get involved, trust your instincts. And then if you are somebody who is aspiring to get into the position where you have to make those kind of decisions, use what's in front of you. Like, we're so lucky to be able to have Instagram and YouTube and all of these platforms where like you can share whatever creative thing you're doing anywhere, and it can reach people in different countries and all over the world. So just utilize what's in front of you. If you want to be a producer, you can't afford Pro Tools, we have GarageBand. Like, just learn the basics. Like, we're so lucky to have all that. So just, I don't know, just like look at what's in front of you and see how much you can do with it.